You wouldn't believe the speeds he's driven. You wouldn't believe the forces he endures. You wouldn't believe the pressure he faces every day. You wouldn't believe the sacrifices he's made. You wouldn't believe he's 15 years old. You wouldn't believe it, but he does.
After 12 races in just 4 weeks, the 2016 Toyota Racing Series comes down to this. 3 races, the championship on the line, and a chance to win the New Zealand Grand Prix title. Each driver has learned his craft, honed his skill, raced faster and harder than ever before. But now the final battle of Manfeild awaits, and the winner takes all. This is the 2016 Toyota Racing Series. Manfeild is the home of motorsport and agricultural events, situated on the edge of the town of Fielding, which is just 20 kilometres from Palmerston North. The Edwardian-themed Fielding has won New Zealand's most beautiful town 14 times, but we know it best as the home of the New Zealand Grand Prix. The track at Manfeild is unique, with 3 straights linked by a tight banked hairpin, another sweeping right-hand banked corner at Higgins, and the final turn, a right-hand sweeper onto the front straight. Over 4 rounds, we've had 5 different winners. Jahan Daruvala of India, the first to take a trophy race at round 1. Round 2 saw Lando Norris assert himself, taking the round win. Then at Hampton Downs, Guan Yu Zhou won mainland China's first win, and Pedro Piquet won the historic New Zealand Motor Cup. And last week at Taupo, Norris taking another feature win, the Denny Hill Memorial, and setting up his championship lead coming into the final round. And the points look like this. With 3 races left to run, Norris holds a commanding 86-point lead with 735 over Pedro Piquet of Brazil on 649. But with 75 points for each race win, Norris can't rest on his laurels, and the battle for second and third in the series is wide open between Zhou with 634, Daruvala in 4th, and New Zealand's Brendan Leach still in the hunt with 597.
At the moment, Lando's really far away from me right now. He has to have a bad weekend for me to win. So my main target is to just win the race for the first race and whatever I can, and then see what plans are at the end. I just want to do the best I can this weekend, and whatever unfolds at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I think if Lando continues with his good results, will be a bit hard. But if he has some bad luck, we're there right at his tail. So we'll continue to get the good results and fight for the championship.
Obviously, it's a big race with a lot of history, and you know that, having learnt it. Excited about racing in the first Grand Prix?
Yeah, I think for a lot of guys here, it's their first Grand Prix. So it will be the longest race I have ever done before. So it will be quite nice, and we'll see what happens.
This is a special race and one of the famous races in the history of racing, and I really want to win this race. Everybody wants to do good here, so yeah.
What about the championship? Like you said, you're third. Can you do it?
Yeah, for sure. I'll try to do my best, and hopefully top 3. If not, just do the best I can and see how it goes.
We've been testing all week leading up to this for the Grand Prix. We've tried a few different things to see what the car would do on a heavy fuel load and this and that, and it's been going really well so far. Yesterday in the last session we were 13th and we had 50 litres of fuel in the car, so really happy leading into the Grand Prix, and so hopefully we're just going to qualify well this morning and get the ITM FT50 up front.
And here at Manfeild, probably the most crucial qualifying of all, Jahan Daruvala just pipping Norris for race 1. But in the crucial second session for the New Zealand Grand Prix, it was Norris again who scored another pole position. That's 8 out of 10. Also at the track this weekend, the historic Formula 5000 class, with 3-time Grand Prix winner Kenny Smith setting the pace and taking time to meet our champion-elect, Lando Norris.
So how many times have you won the Grand Prix?
3 times. 76, every 14 years apart I got it. So that's a long stretch, isn't it? Yeah. You're out to have a good weekend this weekend. Yeah, it's an important one for you to win this one. People remember New Zealand Grand Prix, so it's good.
Obviously it's another trophy to add on to what I've got already. And again, there's a big history of drivers on it, so if I can add my name to it, it'll be something cool and to look back to from my career ahead. But I'm sure there's a lot of drivers which want their name on it, but it's going to be hard to do, so I need to make sure I'm keeping focused and I'm fast.
We've been watching him on telly, and that kid's got talent. He reminds me of Brendan Hartley and Scott Dixon in the early days when they were 12 and 13. You can see talent out of some drivers, and you can see other drivers that'll never make it, and that kid's certainly going to make it, and he's probably Britain's best hope there. He's fantastic, isn't he?
He said I'm doing pretty well at the moment, so obviously he's coming from a guy who's done a lot of racing over his career. Yeah, and obviously he's racing something even faster than this. He told me what lap times he's doing, so maybe by the end of the weekend I can try and see if I can beat what he's doing, but yeah, something pretty cool.
Coming up, Thomas Randall joins the series for a crack at the Grand Prix title, and we have Race 1, the Dan Higgins Memorial Trophy. '19-year-old Australian driver Thomas Randall makes a welcome return to TRS off the back of 7 wins and 8 podiums in the Formula 4 in Australia, as he looks to launch a season of racing in Europe.
Yeah, so I actually did the TRS series last year, and then I progressed on to the Australian Formula 4 Championship, where we finished up 2nd in the championship. And then this year we've really been looking at opportunities to go overseas, hopefully in the UK or somewhere in Europe. And we thought getting into the New Zealand Grand Prix would be a great step to just sort of remember my craft, if you like, in the Wings and Slicks cars. You know, I've driven at this track before, driven the car before, and just to sort of get back in the zone for heading over to the UK. Personally, I do like the TRS series. It's extremely close. The top 10 are situated, you know, within half a second, which is phenomenal. The car here, it's a quicker car. It's lighter. It's got, I think, good tyres. You know, great engine package. You know, the whole deal with Tatuus and Toyota, with us having manufacturer support is terrific. So I think going into Formula 4 was a lot easier from my progression from the TRS at the start of last year. I want to win the New Zealand Grand Prix and then head over to Europe and become a Formula 1 champion.
The Grid 4 Race 1 sees Daruvula on his first pole position, Lando Norris alongside. Then it's Piquet and Munro 3 and 4, then Habsburg and Markeloff, La Liberté and Cockerton, then Di Francesco and Zhou, Hannes and Bruno Baptista, then it's Leach and Patak, Beret and Owen, Bean and DePero, and finally Baptista and Randall. Well, Thibaut, massive day for Jehan Daruvula. He's on pole position, his first of the year, and obviously at a critical time in the championship. What have you told him?
Just told him to get off the line ready, have fun, just practice again. It's all about practicing here and hopefully winning it. We'll try to be leading after the first corner and then manage the race. We see how it goes. He did a pretty good job this morning, so just needs to finish it, really.
So here we go then, Daruvula with his first pole position. Lando Norris, though, trying to wrap up the title. It's all to play for here in Race 1 from Manfeild, the final round of the Toyota Racing Series. Away we go. Good start from Lando Norris. He gets away much better than Daruvula. And on board with Pedro Piquet as they head towards the first corner. He's behind Daruvula and vying for third place, but he's under pressure too from Munro. And they all head through Toyota safely. Randall at the back, but of course, Thomas Randall, the Australian, coming in this weekend, only looking towards the Grand Prix. On board with Artem Markeloff, the Russian, in 5th place, behind Piquet at the moment, Hasn't had the best of series in 2016, but even though he's got the experience of being a GP2 driver and is heading back there this season, he too says he's learning and enjoying honing his skills, ready for that European season. Into Higgins for the first time, and it is Lando Norris leading the way as he has done throughout much of the season. He got a brilliant start. Daruvala had the pole position, but didn't make the most of it. Through goes Leach in the midfield. Got a long way to go, has Brendan Leach, and still an outside chance of being in the top three. Piquet has other thoughts on that as we go on board with Habsburg, Ferdinand Habsburg of Austria. The 18-year-old, of course, who won the first race of the series and has looked very strong here in practice, and again here into turn one. A brilliant overtake by the Austrian on Markelov. Well, he caught him napping there, and Markelov's gone wide. I think he really was not expecting that move by Habsburg, and that was brilliant racing. And it just shows you, as we come down to the final three races, just how much these drivers have learned here in the 5 weeks of racing. And that was textbook overtaking, and Markelov could do nothing, and in fact it startled him. On board with third of the championship, Guan Yu Zhou down the Denny Hulme straight. He's got one win under his belt at Hampton Downs, over 200k, and then diving on the anchors and down a second gear through Higgins. Nicely done. He's one of the big success stories of this 5 weeks, Guan Yu Zhou. Now, here comes Markelov. Markelov on Piquet. They're side by side as they come into the final turn, but Markelov's got it through Pepsi. Nicely done. And Piquet will try to come back at him. They're both behind Habsburg as they cross the line. Piquet goes to the outside. Markelov on the inside. They're side by side as they cross the line. Markelov's got the better race line, but Piquet's got the outside. It's going to be close as they go through Toyota, and they touch! Piquet's out! Piquet's out with a broken suspension. Disaster for the Brazilian here, with his title hopes pretty much in shatters now as he sits at turn one, almost handing the series to the leader, Lando Norris, who marches on, surely towards the 2016 title. The safety car is out, but it's too late for Piquet. They're not going to get that car back in action. Here's another look at it. They were side by side, and it's tough on Markelov and Piquet. I'm sure Markelov didn't want to cause that accident, but he was racing, so was Piquet. He got ahead, but Markelov probably had the better line. Then Habsburg in the way, a little dab on the brakes by Markelov. That sent him left and took Piquet out. And, of course, losing a place to Cockerton and Leach. On to the restart then. Norris leads the field. Munro goes to the outside. Habsburg's got a good start, and everybody looking for position now, but Lando Norris has the lead into Toyota. Munro goes round the outside. Habsburg's on the inside. Daruvala is in 4th place, and Leach is right there as well. La Liberté in the number 15. Taylor Cockerton comes past Daruvala. Nice move by the Kiwi. Taylor Cockerton, another brilliant story from this series. The Formula 4 champion. He loses out of the exit of the hairpin to Daruvala, but he's racing really well indeed, Taylor Cockerton. And to show how far he's come, look at him side by side with a GP2 star into Higgins, and not giving a jot. In fact, holding his line and keeping off Markelov from going past. But I'm presuming that car is not 100% right after that incident with Piquet. And here comes Leach as well. Leach on the inside. Cockerton already through. Markelov loses another place, and in fact the stewards have pulled him in. He will peel off here and take a drive-through for that incident. Oh, there's another incident at the back. DePero involved. DePero touches for a moment and slams into the tyre wall. He just hit the back, I think, of Theo Bean. Yeah, I think Bean just touched the back of him. Yeah, you see him in the back of the shot there. And here we go again. You'll see it now. Yep. Well, to be fair, DePero didn't give Bean anywhere to go. So no real fault of the Americans. And DePero, the Argentinian, out again. Here we have a look at it. Theo Bean on his line, but look, he's running out of road here. Where else can he go except risk going off track? And I think really DePero has to take the blame for that one. Restart again then, and Lando Norris has been brilliant at those restarts throughout the series. Can he do it one more time? And he needs to. As they cross the line, Lando Norris will lead the way. Habsburg and Munro are right there. So too Leach on Cockerton. And the two Kiwis side by side, but Leach goes round the outside and Cockerton says no. Nice move by Taylor Cockerton, but look at this at the front. Lando Norris now in trouble. And he's being challenged by Habsburg. Habsburg's through! Superb racing by Ferdinand Habsburg. The Austrian takes the lead away from Lando Norris. Third is Munro. Daruvula in fourth as they go through the hairpin. Then it's Cockerton and Leach. Cockerton holding off Leach at the moment. But Lando Norris has lost the first restart of the 2016 series. And he's lost it to the on-form Ferdinand Habsburg, who could have another chance of a second win of the series at the perfect time here at Manfeild. What a way that would be to finish his year. Munro's right there in third place, and he too wants a crack at Norris. Munro, of course, trying to get up the board and try to challenge Leach for the best Kiwi finisher in the series. A lot of work to do for Munro on that one, and you can see Leach isn't that far behind. He's got ahead of Cockerton and now goes in pursuit of Daruvula, but Cockerton isn't giving up too easily. Into turn one again, they're side by side again, and this time Leach holds on. Can't overemphasize Taylor Cockerton, so impressive. A lot more experienced men out there in these cars. He's doing a really good job. It's taken just 1 month to get his head around how to drive with these cars fast. Timothy Beret holding off Francesco. On board with Munro in third place as he heads down towards Higgins. Didn't start the year as well as he'd like. Got better at Hampton Downs and Taupo with a couple of podiums, and he's on for one here. James Munro right behind Norris as Habsburg pulling away at the front. This is impressive stuff by the number 62 Austrian. Comes out of the last corner. And now Munro tucked up right behind Norris. Is this an opportunity now for the Kiwi? He goes to the outside, Norris defends, he looks to the inside now. Big pressure for Norris. Ooh, and he goes over the rumble strips and goes wide and onto the grass for a moment. That will surely give Munro the place, and it does. Munro through to second place. Norris in trouble for a moment there. Recovers, but now he has to realise that he needs to finish this race. And the only man really who can challenge him is right behind him, and that's his teammate Daruvula, his big buddy. But if the Indian senses a chance of being able to catch Norris, he's going to go for it for sure. Habsburg into Higgins, down through the gearbox, second gear, turns it nice and tight. And this has been a brilliant race by the Austrian. He's used the restarts brilliant. Started fifth, and then at each of the restarts after the safety car, he's just gone one place up, did a great overtake on Norris, and has never looked back. Guan Yu Zhou is slowing. The Chinese driver is coming to a stop as they head towards the main straight. This is the last lap, and Guan Yu Zhou with damage. And that third place now is looking precarious, and Habsburg could even move up the board to challenge by the end of this weekend. What a weekend this is turning out for Ferdinand Habsburg. He could still possibly make third or fourth, but it's all over for Zhou, who of course started this weekend in third overall. So both Zhou, who was third, and Piquet, who was second, are out of race one. And Habsburg, the surprise winner perhaps, but he certainly deserves it. Great restarts, great overtaking, and once he hit the front, he's pulled away from the pack and put on another performance very similar to how he started the season. Admitted that he felt the pressure when leading the championship, but that's what he's learned in these precious 5 weeks. Came here as a rookie last year, didn't do a great deal, but now has come back as a title contender. And what about the season ahead for Habsburg? He comes out of the last corner to take the checkered flag. Habsburg wins then in Manfeild in race one. And coming across the line in second place is James Munro. The Kiwi does a brilliant job to hold off Norris, who takes third, Daruvula fourth, Leach is fifth, then Cockerton, Markelov, Di Francesco Patak, Bruno Baptista, Beret, and Rodrigo Baptista in 12th. Then it's Will Owen, Thomas Randall, the Australian, coming in, finishes 14th. Then it's the German Hanses in 15th, La Liberté and Depero, but Zhou, Bean and Piquet, DNF.
No mistakes was key, and pushing, obviously not too hard so you don't make a mistake, and yeah, just making a gap is key. You know, you always want to win the race, don't want to come second, and so that's what helped definitely. So giving me a gap and just holding it then 1.6 seconds approximately was nice and easy.
I'm happy with second. I was a little bit disappointing to lose the position at the restart because I felt like we had really good pace. I caught Ferdinand up a lot there after I managed to pass Lando. So I was ashamed about that restart, but we got good pace and we can carry that forward for the rest of the weekend.
Coming up, it's another 8 as Habsburg sets the grid for race 2, and we meet 2 drivers flying the Maple Leaf. Two Canadians joined TRS this year, Camille Laliberté, French-Canadian, and following in the path of last year's champion Lance Stroll with ambitions of Formula One. From Toronto and now residing in Florida, Devlin DiFrancesco, who's looking to American racing and is under the wings of legendary IndyCar boss Chip Ganassi.
Generation Ganassi is a new young driver program that Chip has launched last year to help develop drivers and help nurture them through the difficult ranks of motorsport. And yeah, so far it's been a huge privilege to be a part of, and it's really helped me so far since it's been launched. Definitely learned a lot of patience and a lot of just skills in the car to be able to develop my skills, and outside the car as well. Your whole approach to a weekend, my approach now is probably a little bit different to what it was when I first came out here, and it's reflected like the pace we've been having. It hasn't been too bad. I mean, we've been really quite close to our teammates who are generally quite experienced, and I really think it'll help me next year and well, this year in MSA Formula. My ambition is to be a professional racing driver in, well, it doesn't really matter what category I race, as long as I'm a professional and I make it, then I'm quite happy.
On to race 2 with the reverse grid, Patak in pole and DiFrancesco alongside him. The Canadian getting a good start, but Brendan Leach flying off the line as we go on board with Habsburg, with work to do from 8th. Habsburg on a roll at the moment. He too under pressure from Beret on the outside. The Frenchman getting through. And look at Leach already up to 2nd place behind Patak and putting a lot of pressure. Deruvala 3rd. Corkerton got away well too. But it's Patak who leads from Brendan Leach. Deruvala up the inside. And very important overtakes these because Deruvala and Leach fighting for that runner-up spot with Piquet, and wide goes Thomas Randall, the Australian, as we go back on board with Leach in 2nd place and up the inside. Beautifully done at Pepsi by Brendan Leach to lead the race. And that was a sensational overtake. What a start by the man from Invercargill. Patak will come back at him, but Leach has got the line, has he? Deruvala still holding on to 3rd, but he's under pressure as well from Corkerton in 4th. And Leach does hold on. Patak stays 2nd and Deruvala 3rd. Back with Norris. Norris got to be careful here. The championship on the line. He goes through the inside of the hairpin on DiFrancesco, who has to go wide and onto the grass, but Norris now can wrap up the title, but it's still on for the runner-up spot. Patak under pressure again, this time from both Corkerton and Deruvala. And now Norris joining the action. But he's got to be careful, Lando Norris. He made a mistake in race 1. Can't afford to do that. Can't afford to be battling with the likes of Corkerton. That's got nothing to lose. Here comes Deruvala on Patak, risking everything. As Jahan Deruvala, Patak goes wide and slots in behind. Norris is 4th. So Deruvala now 2nd place will go in pursuit of Brendan Leach, who leads this race. Still very tight, and Norris right in the thick of it. He just can't bang wheels with anyone right now. And in the closing stages of the race, Leach held on to that lead, but as you can see, it's quite locking up here. Deruvala had caught right back up with the Kiwi. And of course, the battle on then for the runner-up spot. Deruvala pushing hard, but Leach staking his claim and certainly putting himself in the best position possible. Patak still holding off Norris. Norris only needing to finish 4th place in this race to wrap up the title. And meanwhile, Piquet still in it, but needed to get as many points from this race as possible. As we go on board with the Brazilian now. A real shame, that crash in race 1, because He had the best chance, only 86 points behind Lando Norris at the beginning of the weekend. That crash in race 1 put him out, and he's now only able to get the runner-up spot, but he needs more points. And he's got some work to do in the closing stages. He's got Habsburg in front of him, and just behind, Di Francesco, who went wide a moment earlier. But it's going to be Leach. On to the last lap. Daruvula may challenge, but I don't think he's close enough. And Brendan Leach, who should have had a win at Taupo, and they had that dramatic and controversial restart when everybody overtook him, and he lost out in that one. But this one is all his, and he certainly deserves it. Part-time mechanic at Highlands, one drive before the start of this season. That's all he'd had in comparison to the rest of these international drivers who've had so much more time behind the wheel. So this is a very, very good result for the ITM man. And Brendan Leach is heading home now. The family are all here to watch it. What a place to do it, just the Grand Prix to go, and this will give him a huge confidence boost going into that. Daruvula is not close enough to challenge, and Brendan Leach is going to be the first Kiwi to win in 2016. He comes out of the last corner. There's the checkered flag, and Brendan Leach wins race 2 at Manfeild. And Norris takes 4th and wins the title. Lando Norris of Great Britain is the new Toyota Racing Series champion for 2016. Confirmation of the result, Leach, Daruvula, Patak on the podium, Norris with the championship in 4, Cockton, Monroe, Habsburg, Piquet, Di Francesco, Joe, Bruno Baptista and Markelov 12. Further down, Timothy Beret of France taking 13th, La Liberté 14th, De Perro 15th, Baptista, Will Owen, Bean, Hanses and Thomas Randall. Brendan Leach, what a time to win a race. You did that perfectly in many ways. Great start, and you never looked back once you got the lead.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the car was really good at the start. It really came on strong. So, you know, I caught the other guys sleeping, which was great. Got a good lead, and then saw Jahan pulling the gap in quite nicely. I could tell he was a bit faster through the high-speed stuff, so I was trying to work on that mid-race. I had to be off there, trying to work on that. So yeah, it was all about trying to make that compromise to get that good run down the straight each time coming near the end when there was an opportunity for him to have a go. But we hung on and won the race. The ITM FT50 was fantastic, and I can't thank the boys enough.
Congratulations. It's been a long 5 weeks, and with one race to go, the New Zealand Grand Prix, you're the 2016 Toyota Racing Series champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. First of all, I got to say a massive thanks to the M2. They've helped me all the way, and yeah, made it possible. So big thank you to everyone here, and yeah, obviously another championship won. So I got to be happy. Obviously I didn't quite finish on the podium, but yeah, it would have been nice too. So yeah, really good season.
Also at the track this weekend, 3-time New Zealand Grand Prix champion Nick Cassidy, who was happy to announce a big move in his career.
Yeah, really cool to be back at Manfeild. I love this place. It's home for me a little bit in New Zealand motorsport with my career, and now I'm heading off this week with, first of all to Japan. I'm running with Toms and Lexus this year in Japanese Super GT, and it's something I'm really excited about.
You've got to be excited. I mean, this is the first TRS graduate, and you're a 2-time champion and a 3-time winner of the New Zealand Grand Prix. To actually go that far and actually be a factory driver for Toyota, that's got to be exciting.
Yeah, first of all, it's a dream, to be a factory driver. That's what you aim to be. Growing up, and it's cool to achieve that. But then to have the link with Toyota and Lexus, because of being involved in the Toyota Racing Series, is quite cool also.
Coming up, it's the 61st running of the New Zealand Grand Prix. Can Lando Norris be the first Brit to put his name on the trophy since Sir Jackie Stewart won in 1967? Welcome back to Manfeild for the grand finale of the Toyota Racing Series, the New Zealand Grand Prix. steeped in history that goes back 61 years and has seen great names of motorsport engraved on the trophy, including Jackie Stewart, Sterling Moss and Keke Rosberg. Now it's the chance for these young drivers to be part of that history, including Kiwis Brendan Leach and James Munro and emerging new star Taylor Cockerton. As they pose for the traditional photo before the national anthem, there's perhaps a little time to reflect on the 5 weeks of hard racing throughout New Zealand. And to add to the gravitas of the event, there's even a special flyover from a Spitfire from Ohakea Air Force Base to set the famous Grand Prix in motion. There isn't a bigger day in New Zealand motorsport. For many of these youngsters, this will be the biggest and most prestigious race of their young careers, and one they'll remember for a long time to come. The grid for the Grand Prix sees Lando Norris and Pedro Piquet on the front row. Then it's Daruvala and Markelov, Munro and Habsburg. 7th is La Liberté and Randall, the Australian, Cockerton and Di Francesco. Then Bruno Baptista and Joe, Leach and Patak. 15th is Hanses, Beret, Owen, Baptista, DePero and B. Moments before the start of the Grand Prix, no better person to talk to, the man who's won it 3 times. Nick Cassidy, I don't suppose before you even do the Grand Prix, you have any idea of what it's like to be on the grid. What is it like?
We were just saying, you know, for all these guys overseas, you get to the grid, you have the national anthem, and you take the photo. It's a pretty big deal, you know. That's when you realise how big a deal it is. So it's nerve-wracking. Look, they're under a lot of pressure, long race, and it'll be interesting. It's been Norris and Piquet all year long in this season. What do you think? Who do you think is going to get it this time? Look, it's going to be close between them. Restart's the key. They look difficult this year, and whoever's at the front after the first turn can kind of control the race a bit, and that's important.
Ooh. Thanks for talking to us.
Cheers.
Here we go then, the 61st running of the New Zealand Grand Prix and the final race of the Toyota Racing Series. Good start from pole from Norris, an even better start from Markelov from 3rd, and he's already alongside Piquet as they head towards the first corner. And he dives now into 3rd place behind Piquet in 2nd, and it is Norris that leads the Grand Prix. This is the longest race they'll have been in all season long. They've got to watch their tyres. Already Habsburg on the move behind Daruvala. On board with Bruno Baptista, the Brazilian. Just behind Cockerton at the hairpin, and just slots in behind Thomas Randall, the runner-up, of course, in the Australian Formula 4 Championship. So we're keeping an eye on Thomas Randall. Fresh tyres, he hardly did any qualifying, concentrating his whole efforts on this, the Grand Prix. And he's in a good position to win it too. It's a long race, this. It's not about the first few laps. It's about being clean, staying out of trouble, and being ready for those restarts. Already, La Liberté and Cockerton in a battle, and Baptista. Baptista coming alongside Randall. This is very good racing by the Brazilian, who struggled somewhat in the early stages of this series. And coming into the pits, someone at the back, it looks like Devlin Di Francesco. Cockerton still battling with La Liberté. Baptista right there in the mix, and it is Devlin Di Francesco complaining about a steering wheel problem, and the electronics not working on that steering wheel, and that's a very important thing, and they'll change that and he'll get back out there. But look at Markelov's start, and maybe thinking about coming together with himself and Piquet in race 1, so careful. Di Francesco tried to get past Randall on the outside, then switches to the inside, but he would soon be in the pits. And Hanses, squeezed to the inside by Timothy Beret, takes to the grass, keeps his composure, and he is another one, the young German, who's learned so much in these 5 weeks. Over 3,000 kilometers of racing and testing, and that's what it's all about. You can see it now with these youngsters who've come on so much. Randall just joining this weekend, but this is a good battle. Formula 4 champion of Australia against the Formula 4 champion from New Zealand. And Cockerton knows it all too well. A lot of comparisons being made to the Aussies and the Kiwis, and of course there's the Trans-Tasman Trophy to be won. That looks like going to Leach or Munro, but likely to be Leach, who is also pushing for 3rd in the championship after that win in race 2. Thomas Randall, though, runner-up in Formula 4 with 7 wins and 8 podiums, racing for victory. Did this race last year as well, and they're hoping that he'll come back and do the full championship. As we go on board with The race 1 winner, Habsburg, who's pushing hard on Daruvala. And Daruvala going wide at the last corner. And surely Habsburg will pass. Monroe waiting to do the same. Daruvala losing 1 place and now possibly 2 as Monroe looks to the inside, but he can't get through. Habsburg holds his line. Daruvala tries to go around the outside. And Monroe's with them. Side by side with Daruvala now. James Monroe of Christchurch. And Monroe, likewise, had a very good race at the beginning of the weekend. And now looking to finish off here in the Grand Prix. But Daruvala won't be denied. And remember, Daruvala going for 2nd in the championship. But Monroe holds him off for now. Thomas Randall probably with the fresher tyres, given that he waited and hardly did any laps in qualifying. For that reason alone, he may just have the advantage as he battles here for the podium. Back on board with the Indian Jahan Daruvala. The Sahara Force India man has already had 3 wins to his name this season. And he'd love to get the runner-up spot behind his teammate and good friend, Lando Norris. It's certainly a possibility. He currently has 747 points to Leach's 721. PK 5th equal with Zhou on 688, and Habsburg still in the mix. So it's far from over in terms of the 2nd and 3rd spots. And Randall, though, he just wants to be on the podium, if not a winner of the Grand Prix. Heading to Great Britain to race himself is Thomas Randall this season, as are so many of the competitors here. And this is a competent start by the Aussie. Trouble, though, Patak and Beret are in an incident. Here's what happened. Through splash into the hairpin, and boom, yeah. Beret turns in, Patak was there. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Patak saw the gap, and Beret was just turning in on his normal line. So again, Norris, who's been king of the safety restarts, has to do it again. They all line up behind him. Away we go again for the restart. Norris takes them across the line. Everyone line astern. Norris holding on to the lead. On board with Zhou. He comes past Coggin. No, too close. Bangs into the back of Daruvala, and I think he's done damage to the wing. Daruvala, let's hope there's no damage to his car, but that was Zhou just getting it wrong into the first turn. He got a good restart, but then hit the back of Daruvala and damaged his car. And that's going to really change the complexion of the overall championship as well. As in the mix, Baptista just behind this man. Brendan Leach of New Zealand, who's got Daruvala in front of him. As they go into Higgins, nice and aggressive by Leach, and he tucks himself right behind Daruvala, and that's a perfect position down the back straight. Norris leads the race, but Markelov very close indeed in 2nd place after that restart. And Markelov, with nothing to lose, would love nothing more than to finish finally with a win. He hasn't had one so far. Somebody going wide at the back there. And Norris is going to have his wits about him for a long, long time now in this long race. Monroe battling with Randall of Australia. James Monroe, of course, off to the United States. The F2000 series and the road to Indy with Team New Zealand. And that's a very, very interesting year ahead for James Monroe. Brendan Leach looking to do something similar and head to the States himself. But right now he's got a South American who is going to the States, Bruno Baptista. He'll be doing the Pro Master Series this season. And a little gesture there from Brendan Leach. He's got a little bit of grass on his tyres there. He lets Bruno know that he's on the inside. Baptista goes through, but wide goes Leach and onto the grass. He's got to hold on to it. He loses several places there, and that could ruin his chances of 3rd overall, Brendan Leach. Not a good moment at all for the Kiwi. Whether he lost a little bit of concentration there as he let Baptista through, I'm not sure. Did Baptista squeeze him? Maybe a little. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And Rodrigo Baptista goes through first of all. De Pero also going through, and that's bad luck for Brendan Leach. And now he's really going to have to work hard in the remainder of this New Zealand Grand Prix. Meanwhile, number 49, Thomas Randall, Still pushing on to try and get a podium. He's got Munro ahead of him. Back comes Brendan Leach first on Di Francesco, who of course came in earlier for that steering wheel change. Randall all over Munro. Munro won't have as fresh a tyres as Randall. And this is a good battle between one of the best in New Zealand and one of the best from Australia. Two youngsters on their way up, one going to America in the form of James Munro, the other heading to Great Britain. And they will be representing their countries for sure. Meanwhile, back to the battle for the podium. Markelov in second place, Piquet his teammate just behind, and then Habsburg, who's been the man of the hour in the last 24 hours for sure. Markelov determined. There's the gap between himself and Norris, who leads this race by quite some margin now. Munro and Randall side by side again into turn one. Munro holding him off. But this is where James Munro is so good. He soaks up the pressure so well, makes himself as wide as he possibly can, and Randall, try as he might, just can't overtake. And while Randall is good in the last corner of this track and then gets alongside Munro, he just can't get past. And Munro soaking up that pressure, as we say, down the Denny Hulme straight. And Randall could try up the inside here at Higgins, but again, the door is closed by Munro. He can't get close enough there either. Through go the leaders, and then this battle between the Aussie and the Kiwi. I'm looking for the other Kiwi, of course, Brendan Leach. And he's a long way back, is Leach, just in this group now. And there's someone else going wide at the back there. That's DePero of Argentina onto the grass at Higgins. And not been an easy season for Nicholas DePero. He certainly learns a lot, but he's also made several mistakes, like that one, as Randall comes again at Munro. Munro defends, though, at turn one. Randall tries to slingshot round the outside. Is he close enough? No, can't quite do it. Munro holds on. What a great battle this is turning out to be. And this has gone on throughout the Grand Prix between these two. But Munro refuses to let Randall pass. And it's frustrating, Thomas Randall. And as you can see, lunging now. And as we get into desperate times and desperate measures for the end of the 61st running of the New Zealand Grand Prix, Randall desperate to get past Munro, but time is running out. Meanwhile, at the front, a massive lead for Lando Norris, who's dominated the 2016 Toyota Racing Series and is heading home now, surely, to a famous victory. Well, he's won a lot here in New Zealand, but this would be very special when you look at the names that have won here over that 61-year period, including Jack Brabham, Sterling Moss, Graham Hill, Jackie Stewart, and more recently, Keke Rosberg, a two-time winner of the New Zealand Grand Prix. 6 Formula One World Driver Champions in all. And Lando Norris, just 16 years of age, is heading towards a victory. The first for a British driver since Jackie Stewart 49 years ago. He comes out of the hairpin for the last time. What must be going through this young man's mind? He really hasn't put a foot wrong. He's a shy young man, but boy, when he's in a car, it's all out aggression. And he's been unstoppable around the circuits of New Zealand for the last 5 weeks. 8 out of 10 poles. This will be his 6th win if he can pull it off. But Habsburg, Piquet and Markelov as Deruvela goes past Zhou. And I think Guan Yu Zhou has got problems with that front wing still, having hit the back of Deruvela. And yeah, you can see it's tucked underneath, and he's going to have to come in, I think. Deruvela easily through. Zhou doing a very good job of continuing on. But La Liberté comes alongside as well, and you can see the wing now clearly. And the stewards may just bring him in because he's not going to get any quicker, and he's going to have to let more drivers past, and he does let La Liberté through. Through goes the Canadian. And as we go on board with Zhou, you can see what he's dealing with. The tyres looking wrecked as well as the front wing gone underneath, and he's got to be careful it doesn't tuck itself under and take him out completely. But he's still battling with La Liberté, amazingly. So good on him. He's going to try and finish this race if he can. And of course, he started the weekend 3rd overall. And La Liberté goes through again at Higgins. And Zhou just lets him through. It's going to be an interesting battle list to the finish to decide who comes second, third and fourth in this series. As Theo Bean is off, the American is off. And I'm not sure what happened there, but I didn't see an incident. He may have just spun off course himself. Joe comes in, and that ends his Grand Prix and his Toyota Racing Series for 2016. But it's been a very good year with a win under his belt. But sadly, that restart didn't help him. Here's what happened to Bean. Coming into the last corner, he tries up the inside of Di Francesco. They don't touch, and Bean just on the dirty part of the circuit, spins it around, and he's out. Yeah, sure enough, on his own. He didn't have an incident with Di Francesco, but out goes the American to end his season. We're on the last lap now for Lando Norris. What a season it's turned out to be here in New Zealand for the 16-year-old from the UK. The youngest ever world car champion took that accolade from Lewis Hamilton, the current world champion of Formula One. Is he following in his footsteps, we wonder? The 16-year-old has got a massive schedule, which includes racing in Europe in Formula Renault and in Formula 4 in the UK. And this is the perfect way to start his year. Markelov still second place, Piquet still there in third. Can Piquet get past, I wonder? Time running out here. Habsburg just behind. Out of Higgins they come. Habsburg very close, and Piquet right behind Markelov. Can he get in the slipstream? Habsburg looking for a way past as well. Got to be careful though, double yellows are being waved for that Theo Bean incident, and he's just overtaken Markelov in the wrong place. He's going to get in trouble. Meanwhile, Lando Norris will take victory in the New Zealand Grand Prix ahead of Markelov, who takes second place. Piquet crosses the line in third with Habsburg fourth. Lando Norris then with 6 wins, including the New Zealand Grand Prix, to finish off his Toyota Racing Series. Piquet was penalised for passing under yellow, so that means that Habsburg moves to third. Monroe, Randall, Cockerton, Daruvalla 7th. La Liberté getting a great result to finish 8th. Further down, Di Francesco 13th. Will Owen, Piquet finishing in 15th overall in the end. Disappointment for him. DePero, Joe, and DNFs for Theo Bean and Anthony Patak.
Well, obviously there was a few others which were still battling for the championship or some positions, so I didn't have anything to lose. Yeah, so I got to just relax and do what I do, and obviously yeah, it all paid off in the end.
Quite a few famous British names on that trophy. You're now one of them. How do you feel?
Yeah, well, maybe next year I can do it again, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's been a long journey, so I need to take it all in, and thanks to everyone.
I'm sure they'll invite you back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's how it finished then. Lando Norris with 924 points. Daruvalla makes second place. Brendan Leach getting to third place, a great result for him. Habsburg moved to fourth in the end. Piquet will finish fifth. Zoe, Monroe, Markelov round out the top 10. And further down, that good result for Camille La Liberté moves him to 393, ahead of Will Owen, Timothy Beret, Rodrigo Baptista, Theo Bean, Nicholas DePero and Julian Hanses. 15 races, 6 different winners from 6 nations.